So without further ado, this session is on patterns and kits. So my three guests now are pattern designers and kit designers, makers, producers, and they'll be talking you through those, and we'll be learning how they got into that kind of thing, seeing some of their products, and at various stages I'm sure some other interesting things will pop up. If you can possibly read this, it is my mobile number, and you can text me a question or a comment. If you can see this, it says onlinewoolshow.com. That's the website where you can see the stalls from all our wonderful exhibitors, including my three guests here. That is an illegible schedule of what's happening after this, which is a 3 o'clock one on crochet. So let me start introducing our guests in alphabetical order. Alison from Knit One Kits. Hello. Hello, Alison. Can I hear you? Hiya. You're in Leicester, yeah?
I am. Yes, I'm in Leicester. Nice and sunny, but very windy here today.
Yeah, I'm in Nottingham, so it's pretty similar. We're pretty close.
Yes.
Yes.
So yes, sat here in my living room.
So we'll be learning all about Knit One Kit. If you forget Alison's from Knit One Kits, look at the jauntily placed sign in the background. Hello, Monica.
Hello.
Hello. Monica's down in London. Sunny London. Is it sunny there?
I'm in East Sussex. I'm not in London.
Oh, sorry. Oh, right. I don't know why I thought that. Yeah.
I used to be in London 5 years ago, but moved here then.
Oh, right. Yes. So
sunny, thunderstormy, changeable, I would say.
Yes. Yes. We'll be learning why Monica's got a woolly friend with her soon. I'll give you a clue. It's one of her patterns. Sorry, is there a name here?
Fergus.
Fergus. Hello, Fergus. You okay? You going to say anything, or are you going to be silent?
I am the first toy that Monica has designed.
Yeah, you're supposed to do that with you. Like, oh, it's the first toy.
I haven't done my ventriloquist training yet.
Anyway, we'll come back to Monica in East Sussex soon. And Monica runs the company The Knitknacks, by the way. Sorry, I forgot to mention that. And is our main online tutor for the workshops that are running through the online wool show. And I'm sure we'll talk a little bit about that soon as well. And can I bring in Clare now? Hello, Clare.
Hello, Clare. Hello.
If you speak, is it coming up on Clare?
Sorry. Yeah, I'm here.
And you're in Scotland?
I'm up in windy, rainy, grey. I was hoping to have glorious sunshine so you can see all the colours behind me, but it is horrific today. So
yes.
Yeah.
So the kids are trapped inside, are they?
Yeah. Yeah. And the dogs. Glad to be out of it.
Yeah, that's great. So there's some clues in the background there that you sell. Are those mini balls behind you?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. All the different colours.
So I'll be learning more about that. Claire's company is called Wee County Yarns. Trying not to lapse into a Scottish accent, but failing.
Well, you're probably better at it than me, as you can tell. I'm not exactly Scotland born and bred.
Yes, and you're near Stirling, is that right?
Yeah, we're in Clackmannanshire, which is the smallest county in Scotland, which is called the Wee County, so hence the Wee County Yarns. But it's kind of wedged between Fife and Stirling.
Yeah, and why are you there? Why the move from England?
Well, I don't know. I think I've done my time in England. It's much nicer up here. I married a bloke in Scotland, so that seemed like the logical place. Yeah,
that's there's a theme running for anybody who's seen the other interviews today. People from Germany. Why did you come to Britain? Yeah, I married an English guy. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not.
Actually, didn't know. They interviewed a wonderful lady, Erica from America, and they came over as a couple. I just loved it here, so that's why. So let's whiz back to Leicester and Alison, who can only see. Can you still only see yourself? Can you see anybody else?
I can see you, but no one else.
Oh well, that's fine. I mean,
doesn't matter. That's fine.
The other two are making faces at you. Yeah.
Probably.
So are you Leicester born and bred then?
No, I'm from the south, really. Yeah, kind of Surrey, and then I lived in London for a long time, till about, well, a long, long time ago, about 25 years ago.
So what
And
were
then I've
you?
been
What? Tell me a little bit about how things led up to Knit One. It was Knit One. Did you have a shop?
Yes, so I had a shop. The Knit One in Leicester that opened in 2011. So I'd worked at Next for a very, very long time. The head office is up in Leicester. So I'd worked there for many, many years, and I left and went off to do a degree in nutrition, and then thought, I'm missing retail. So I opened up a wool shop because I kind of like making things. I'm a dressmaker, really. That's my main thing. And then I do like yarn. We didn't really have a very good yarn shop in Leicester, so I thought, yeah, let's open up a wool shop.
Yeah.
So
that shut down, was it last year though?
Yeah, so it was in Clarendon Park, which is a little area outside of the city centre. Then the lease ran out on that shop, and I moved the shop into the town centre. Well, it's a bit different there. A lot of local people don't go into town, so it was a bit of an odd move. Well, it seemed like a good move, and it was a lovely shop, much bigger shop, much better to work in. And then the lease was coming to an end sort of at the end of last year, so I just decided I wouldn't renew the lease, because we have been doing lots of shows over the years. We've always taken bits of stuff from the shop and set up stalls at shows, so it seemed like the logical thing maybe to wind the shop down and push more and put more effort into doing more shows. So I had a lot booked this year, so unfortunately none of them are happening. But we, things like this to keep it going, which is really good. Yeah.
So Knit One Kits is is that the business that you do that's your online business, and what you do at the shows with the stalls?
Yeah. So the kit side of it really sort of evolved from, in the shop, you used to get a lot of people coming in who maybe had knitted before or crocheted and said, oh, what can I make? What can I do? And a lot of patterns, maybe, you need a lot of wool to make a jumper or a garment. So I started off writing just simple patterns for things like scarves and hats, and just finding really nice stitches in stitch books and working up sort of scarves, and then writing up a really simple pattern that then we used to give that free. If somebody bought, 3 balls of chunky yarn, then I gave them a pattern and they could make a nice scarf. And it kind of evolved from there, really. So now I do essentially sell kits. So I find some really nice yarn, put all the colours together, because that's what I really like doing, is combining lots of colours, making something that looks really pleasing, and then writing the pattern. And then the pattern's basically free still. They pay for the yarn and get a pattern.
Yeah. So we'll see some of Alison's patterns and kits soon, but let's have a quick chat to the other ladies about how they got into it. Monica, you are quite well known on the wool circuit, doing mainly kind of workshops and things, and you have done 9 books. Is it 9 books of patterns?
It's 9 books of patterns, yes.
Yes, and some of them have got 20 patterns in.
They have, but they've now actually discontinued the 20 to make ones and put them into one book with my books. Yes, so they made an amalgamation of them, but yes.
So were you a knitter from a young lass?
I was a knitter from a young age, yes, but purely for pleasure. I've been doing this for 9 years.
So what were you doing beforehand?
I worked in further education, and I worked in psychiatric hospitals. My background is I'm a teacher and an art therapist, and I taught communication, and I taught on health and social care courses. And latterly then I was a manager in FE about quality across college.
And what was there a particular turning point that made you kind of leave that and go into
It was called being
wool
flattened
business?
by a car.
Sorry, what?
Being flattened by a car.
Oh, really?
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
Gosh, yeah, you were in serious, like, critical care in hospital, were you?
Yes. I was off work for over a year, and then didn't know what the prognosis was, and I was going crazy. And I thought, what can I do? And I thought I can knit, and then I thought I can do more than knit. I can design. So I started designing, and I was extraordinarily lucky that I was seen by a publisher who just said, we want you to do a book for us, out of the blue. And it went from there, really. So, and then the teaching background came into it, and I started running workshops, but it meant that I could choose when and how I worked, rather than having to be in a stressful job every day with long hours and not knowing when crises would hit and stuff.
Yes. Well, it's strange, the turns of fate that make people.
Oh yeah, I don't think I've done it otherwise. I would never have thought of it.
Yes. Yes. And you're happy now doing?
Yeah, I'm happier now. I think I've got a balance, because I like the teaching as much as I like the. In fact, probably yes, definitely as much as I like, if not more than the designing. But I do a lot of designing as well. Yes.
So as I said earlier, Monica does online workshops. Are you missing the real workshops you'd be doing around the wool show?
Yes, I miss the people contact. But I have to say, I did an online workshop yesterday, and they were a really lovely group of people, and it was really nice, and we just shared lots of things, as well as hopefully they went away with new skills. So that was great.
Yeah. We'll obviously give a plug to the upcoming workshops that Monica's doing through the online wool show, which includes a fair isle and a something else. Monica will tell us later. Let's move on. Yes, let's move on swiftly, because my lapse of memory. So Clare, let's go back up to Clare. From We County Yarns. How did you get into the wool business then?
Well, I've always been a knitter since my gran taught me when I was 5, and I'm a scientist, really. I did biology, and then came and worked for my husband's company for a bit as an asbestos surveyor. And then when the kids came along, I thought, no, I'd like something to do that's my own, and that I can work around children. So we decided to start an online wool shop, because I really like wool. And then initially just selling, the main commercial brands online. And then back in 2013, I did the Edinburgh Wool Show, the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, the first ever one. And I'd been stocking JC Rennie yarns, who are spun up in Peterhead, and they were having a difficult time of it. And I'd got, they were great for Fair Isle, but they were down to like 9 colours, of which 4 were red. So I went along to them and I got some cones from them. They've got lots of colour, they've got like 200 colours on the cones. And for the Edinburgh Yarn Festival, I made up mini balls, little 10-gram balls, because you don't need much for Fair Isle. And they, I sold out in a day. Everyone loved them. But everyone was like, so what can I make with these? And I'm like, well, anything you like, But I realised that people really needed a pattern. They needed a reason to buy them. So I was kind of pushed into the designing, because I needed a pattern to sell the mini balls. So I started designing for the mini balls and really quite enjoyed it, and found that it was certainly driving the sales of the yarns that I had that weren't the commercial brands that already had patterns for them. So I've taken it from there, really, and it's been really good fun.
Yeah. So those mini balls, how many grams? How many are they?
So they're 10 grams, but for the kind of yarn that it is, sorry, there is no natural light in Scotland today, none at all. I've got all the lights on in the room. But yeah, so they're 10 grams, but they're about 50 meters. So it means if you're doing a Fair Isle project like a hat, and you've got 8 colors in there, the whole hat is only going to weigh about 30 grams. So if you've bought 8 50-gram balls, you've got enough for, can't do the maths, 10 hats. You know, it's all with the same colours. So when you're, you know, and interestingly, since starting from that kind of, you know, the constraints of the yarn, I haven't yet reached the limit of the possibilities of the mini balls. You know, we went from Fair Isle into kind of gradients and, you know, using them for small colours in larger projects. And I'm still thinking of ideas for them now. So people buy them and have been buying them and come back for more. You know, it's sort of, it's been interesting to see that they're still, you know, proving useful. So.
Yeah, right. Well, we'll pop back to Clare again and see some of her more of her products and her patterns and kits. Let's whiz back to Leicester and Alison from Knit One Kit.
Yeah.
Have you got a favourite product there? Just happen to have to hand?
Well, this is my current favourite. So it's a knitted cushion kit. So it's using a Serdar yarn. It's a nice wool and acrylic blend, but I've kind of designed it with a really interesting stitch, using a slip stitch along the row and then just alternating the colours. And then I've just put a little opening at the top. So some people like to have their cushion covers so they can take them off and wash them. So that's why I've done that. Normally I would just sew mine on completely and just unpick it maybe if I wanted to wash it. But for this one, I've done a little opening with the buttons. So in the kit, you get the yarn, buttons and a pattern to make that. I don't know, can you see that clearly enough? Yeah.
Yeah, that's
And in other colours as well. A really nice mustard colourway, and then there's a nice coral pink one as well instead of the duck egg.
Right, so there's 3 colour variants there, is there?
Yes. And it's called the pyramid stitch. So it's the pyramid stitch cushion cover kit on the website, on the online wool show website.
So on the stall, is that listed as 1 product or 3 products?
It's listed as 3 separate products, yeah. So each colourway, and the whole kit, it's £19.
Yeah, that's great. So is cushion covers one of your things, Alison?
Well, cushion covers are good because it means you can make quite an inexpensive kit. I have got some blanket kits, so I can show you that in a minute when the time is when I need to. So yeah, I do scarves as well, but just simple scarves and very, very simple shawls. Our kind of ethos with the shop was always to try and keep it very simple so that it felt more approachable and just accessible to more people, because a lot of people used to come into the shop that hadn't knitted for years and they just wanted something simple. So that's kind of what I focus on, more simple things. And cushion covers, like I say, are, you know, people like, you know, statement cushions are really nice on your settee, or, you know, you can put them anywhere, you know, in your office, in the kitchen, in your car, in your bedroom, anywhere. So I just, yeah, it's nice to come. I think they're nice to make, and they're quite quick as well. You know, you haven't got the dread of knitting up, you know, skeins and skeins of yarn to make a very complicated shawl. So that's why I like them.
So is that quite an easy knit for somebody who's like maybe not so not so experienced?
I think you need to be you don't need to be experienced, but it would help if you need to be able to read the pattern. And I think that's always the key with making something, is make sure you read the pattern every row, because sometimes you can, I mean, I do it as well. You start knitting something and think, oh yeah, I know what's going on. I know. And you knit a few rows and then you realize you've knitted something wrong because you've not been reading the pattern. So if you read the pattern and you can slip stitches, then you can do this. And you just need to change your yarn color every 4 rows. And it's either knitting or, actually there's purling when you do the stocking stitch rows. And these are just garter stitch rows. It looks really complicated, but you just slip the stitches when you get to them and knit a row, and then it creates that effect. Yeah,
it's a really good effect.
It's pretty, isn't it? I think it's really pretty, and it's been selling well.
Right, let's whiz back to Monica and Fergus, was it? Fergus?
Fergus is my bear. Fergus I love Fergus. Fergus came from an idea. I have a son living in Scotland, and we go up there very regularly. And last summer, when we drove up there, we stopped near the borders, and in the shop, there was it wasn't a knitting shop, it was a shop that had all Fair Isle in it. And Fair Isle is my passion, but toys are absolutely not my passion. I've never designed a toy before, but in the window they had several bears made with Fair Isle, as well as the most beautiful jumpers. And I thought, gosh, I'm going to have to design one of these. So that's how Fergus came about. And he's going to be, well, not exactly Fergus, but a similar bear is going to be in my next book that comes out at Christmas. But it's not, as I say, generally, it's not something that I design, but he is rather cuddly and squishy and has a character.
Is that, do you need to be able to do Fair Isle knitting then?
Fair Isle knitting, definitely, yes, you do. But yes, he's got a character. I only sell the pattern for that.
I like the way he's kind of wearing a Fair Isle jumper, but it's also his body.
It's him, yes. Yeah, no, but actually my favourite thing is this beret.
Yes.
And it has a matching snood. And again, of course, it's Fair Isle. And I really like both designing Fair Isle and making it, because I do get rather bored with plain things. I do lots of plain things, don't get me wrong, but I actually really like playing with colours. And I use Scottish yarn. I use Jameson's or Jameson Smith for a lot of my products, and because the colours just go together and you can just really, really play. So I've done lots of hats and lots of snoods, and they come as a kit because I think, as been said before, that way people find it very hard to choose colours. Generally, they think, oh, and in my experience, 90% of people will buy the colourway of the display of something that's shown. They cannot put together their own colours, so I've done it for them. So
Yeah.
they're going to like my colours or they don't like them. But they come with 6 balls of yarn, which are 25 grams each, a pattern, a colour-coded chart, so they can go home, make their project, not fret about the pattern and just enjoy the knitting.
That's great. I mean, is that kind of circular effect? Is that a standard Fair Isle, or is it a kind of?
No, it's done on circular needles, but it's standard Fair Isle. Yeah.
So yeah. It's a combination of Fair Isle and circular needles.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yes. Anybody wanting to learn Fair Isle, 6th of June.
Come and join me, and you can have fun, and you can go away, and you can start your own project, and hopefully enjoy it and learn a new skill.
Yeah. So that's in 2 weeks' time. You can book it through the online Wolf Show.
Yes, absolutely.
That's the plug. Might do another one later. Claire, I mean, you've shown us your main like mini balls. Have you got a favourite product that you might use those with, a kit or?
I'm sitting here surrounded by by knitwear, thinking, oh God, which one's my favourite? It's like trying to choose my children, whichever one's not being naughty.
Oh, well, quickly do a little bit on each of them. The product's not the children.
I think probably my favourite. Yeah, it's all right. You don't want to see them. So a couple of so last December. So I did this one quite recently. This is a Fair Isle snood cowl, I would call it, and it's called the Pick and Mix cowl. And this pattern actually came out in Knitty, the online magazine. We've got kits for it, and it uses the mini balls, and you repeat the motif. So it's very straightforward Fair Isle knitting because you're not doing any shaping. But as I think Monica mentioned, people at shows, they'll see all the knitwear and they go, oh, can I have those colours, please? They like to choose. It's like, Fair Isle colours are some kind of black art that, you need a degree to understand. like, well, just, you know, pick some colours you like. So the whole point of this cowl was that you start with a palette of 15 colours and you just try out different combinations. So even if some of them don't actually work, the whole cowl will look nice. So it gives people this sort of empowerment that, don't worry, just start with 15 and then you choose some. So, you know, you say, well, I like blues and purples. Those are quite similar in tone, so you might want a paler one. I love that. This is my new favourite one, this mint green. So let's try a motif with these three. And you give it a try and you think, oh, well, actually, that didn't quite work as well as I hoped, or, you know, that looked great. So as you can see in this, each one of the motifs, the same motif, just with different colour combinations. And I've been loving, as I see projects on Ravelry up against it, I've just been absolutely loving everyone's different interpretations. They all look different, but they all look lovely. This is another version that Dolly's been wearing. So I did this with a different palette, a slightly more sort of vintagey, a few, you know, this one's got some quite shouty colours with the bright acid yellow and the bright orange, whereas this one's all, you know, a little bit more muted, bit more traditional kind of looking. But, you know, it's just really fun to try, well, let's see what happens if you put a bright colour through the centre or something like that. And it just means that, you know, it's going to look nice and, you know, maybe learn something more about colour combinations as you go. So that one's, I've been really enjoying seeing people, and it's sad that I can't get people just to say, pick 15 that you like out off the wall behind you, you know. So I've been giving people options like, do you want bright colours? Do you want natural colours? You know, that sort of thing. So it's been, you know, I'm always happy making up combinations and taking photos and stuff like that. That's probably my mini ball favourite at the moment. And then the other yarn we have is the Kinross 4-ply lamb's wool, which is, oh, it's just gorgeous. It's spun just down the road and it is lovely. So I've been designing with that, which is quite interesting because I can use all one colour rather than all the Fair Isle stuff for the mini ball. And I think probably my favourite for that one is this hat that I did, which I love, slouchy hat. So you can see it's called the North Lights hat, and it's really simple. It's one of the free patterns that you can get on the free pattern section of the online wool show. And it's just knits and pearls and really, really simple. But because the stitch definition of the Kinross is so lovely, then it just comes out looking really nice. So I think those two are probably my favourites at the moment. But
yeah, so if I can reiterate that, yeah, please go to the website, onlinewoolshow.com, as well as lots of videos and stalls and products and online events. There is some, and demo videos, and Claire, who was just talking, has done some little, like how to use, what was it trios?
Yes, crazy trios.
Yeah, and various different little kind of free lessons, little mini free lessons or demos, but a big page with loads of free they're all knitting patterns at the moment, but I hope to add some crochet. And Claire from Wee County Yarns has provided most, I would say probably about 85% of them. Some brilliant hats, gloves, I mean, you name it, shawls, hats, snoods, gloves, mittens, socks, you name it, it's probably on there. Those are free, you can download them, and then you don't have to use the Wee County yarn for it, but obviously it's recommended. Thank you, Claire, and we'll pop back soon and see some more products, if that's okay. Yep. So I'll go back to Alison of Knit One Kits. Right. So when you are designing something new, I mean, what do you think? Are you thinking that I should make this kind of a simple one for beginners, or is it about the pattern, or the different? Where do you get your inspiration from for a new pattern?
I think a lot of it comes from what I hear people say that they want to do or make. So the pyramid cushion, that came from people at shows last year saying, oh, I love all your crochet cushions, but I don't crochet, because I think up until that was my first proper knitted cushion that I've done. I did loads in the shop, but they were very simple ones. So I'd sort of started off by doing lots of crochet, because it's usually just through colours, and I look at what coloured yarn I've got, or maybe a supplier brings out a new range of colours for a certain cotton that we use, and then I look at them and then I try and think up of a new sort of stitch design. And it's usually got to work well with cotton, because cotton tends to work differently to a sort of wool-based yarn. It sort of behaves differently, especially when you're crocheting as well. So there's a lot of trial and error, looking through sort of stitch books, just finding ones that work really well and really show off the definition of the cotton better than others. Some stitches just don't work in cotton. And I've got to think it's got to be easy for, you know, somebody buying it to sort of be able to make it. I have got a fairly difficult one, which I haven't got a sample of nearby, which is the Catherine wheel stitch one. Actually, there's a piece here. That's a little tester one I did the other day. So that's a more, you know, a little bit more challenging, that stitch. But
Sorry,
again,
is that knitting or crochet?
The crochet. So that's crochet. So yeah,
are you kind of split? Are you like 50% like knitting kits, 50% crochet kits?
I have to say it leans more towards crochet, because I think that's where the cotton that I use a lot of, you know, it lends itself better. This cotton does not work that well in knitted cushion covers. They just don't look right. So that's why when I did the knitted one, I would look for a yarn that was wool based, so it's kind of a little bit more fuzzy, it's not so clean, and it just works better in knitting than the cotton. Yeah.
And what's that? Is that a blanket or something, or a scarf?
Oh, that yes. So that was this is the chevron granny stitch blanket on the website. So it's just the granny stitch, which is 3 trebles together. But what you do is you introduce a sort of up and down effect in it. So it creates what I call a chevron.
Sorry, is that, sorry, I'm incredibly ignorant, but is that crochet?
Sorry, Nick. Yes, crocheted. Yeah. Yes, it's crocheted. And the good thing about crochet is it does grow a lot quicker than knitting. So making a blanket like this, which is fairly large, well, it's not massive, but it's a nice knee blanket or on a single bed. It's going to be a lot quicker to make than knitting it.
So you sell the complete kits with the yarn and the pattern?
Yeah. So that one, it comes in 2 sizes. So you can buy the small one for £30 or the larger one for £40, and you get the pattern with it as well. I don't sell hooks with the kits because most people generally have the hooks or needles already, but I do have a selection of hooks on the online wool show website, so you can buy a hook there. So that one I did with a size 7 hook, so that might be a hook that some people don't have readily. A lot of people tend to work in double knit, so that's a slightly thicker yarn, so I used a size 7 on that.
Great, thanks for that. Monica, where do you get your inspiration, apart from shop windows in Scotland? Where else do you get inspiration?
I'll show you another picture of Scotland. That's where my son lives, which is a very remote part of Scotland, and I get inspiration for colour from Scotland. I have to say, a lot of ideas, and that is my book on Fair Isle, which was why I was very keen to do Fair Isle. And in that, it's got lots of different stitches, and it's got patterns, but it's got swatches with charts, and the charts have also got the written instructions, and then there's step-by-step instructions of how to do techniques. So that ties in really with my Fair Isle. And then the other big thing that I do are 1 skein kits in Manos de Uruguay yarn, which is a fair trade yarn made by a women's cooperative. And they do, and I stock the Marina, which is a lace weight yarn, and I also stock the Allegra, which is a 4-ply yarn. And basically all the kits are 1 skein of yarn, and they come with a free pattern. So you choose which pattern you like, which colour you like, put them together, and it's either £18 or £19 to make a project. very simple. You can also do socks. So there's shawls and there's socks and there's a hat. There's all sorts of things, and it's worth having a look. And for today only, you also get 10% off. So there's another incentive.
Yes, I should say to everybody today, 23rd of May, our extravaganza day on the Online Wool Show. Lots, if not most, of the exhibitors are doing special offers and discounts. Alison, sorry, did you mention what you're doing?
No, I forgot. So there's 10% on orders up to £25, and then over £25, there's 15% off.
That's great. And Claire?
We're doing 10% off kits.
Yeah, so. Great. So now's your chance to rush. Well, wait till we finish the interview. or indeed the next one, which is at 3 o'clock, which is on crochet as well. And then you can rush off and have a look at the website if you've not already done so. Okay, I think we're just about, I'm just going to check if we've had any, have we had any questions? No? Oh, something just came through. Yeah, people like what we're doing, but there's no specific questions. Sorry, my wife's muttering. Oh, she's going to show me something. This is very professional. Right, a question from Rachel. Does Alison have the chunky knitted snood rose kit there to see, please?
The chunky knitted...
The chunky knitted snood rose kit.
If you talk to someone else for a minute, Nick, I'll go and get it.
Yeah, and Christine, can't believe I'm near Glasgow, but haven't heard of Wee County Yarns. Love the mini ball idea. So,
yep, and I hope you're getting tipped down on as well. Just,
yes.
The colours of Scotland are not terribly inspiring today, I'll tell you that.
It's like the weather, I mean,
you really like grey.
Here in Nottingham. It honestly is, I'm not just saying that. Monica, what's it like in East Sussex?
It's just brightened up again. We just had a very heavy shower, but the sky looks very ominous, but it's very sunny at this particular minute.
Mind it has been dry for so long, it's been ridiculous.
The garden desperately needs it.
We need some rain.
We do, we do.
And I think Alison's gone, she's not supposed to go out, she's supposed to be staying in. And where's she gone?
I think she's gone to get the rose kit.
Yeah, it's just probably as efficient as we are in this house at finding things, which is like impossible. Right, I think we have the chunky rose, whatever kit.
I think that's the one that she probably means. So yes, it's a very long snood. So yeah, that's a really easy one to do. It's just alternating knit and purl in the same row. Yeah,
that's great.
Oh.
I can't remember who wanted that, but there you go. Wait, Rachel it was. And that's great. I mean, thanks very much to everybody. We've just about run out of time now. To Clare in Scotland, to Monica of the Knitknacks, sorry, Clare of Wee County Yarns, Monica of the Knitknacks, Alison Knit One Kits. Please have a look at their stuff and the other stuff on the Online Wool Show. And thank you again.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Have a nice day.
See you. Bye.